Is that time of the year? This is a past a 2009, which is actually my favorite team for NaNoWriMo, but this is the time to prep. If you are participating of NaNoWriMo, which is a event for writers. It's called National Novel Writing Month, and it happens during the month of November. And for a lot of writers like myself, we take at the very least this month of October to prepare. Hence the catchy name of Preptober. Um, this first video is gonna be on the shorter side, and I probably gonna kind of like scoot a little bit this way so I have space to put some little graphics probably here. The following Tuesdays, I'm gonna have a video up about what I do, my process to prepare for not only NaNoWriMo, but pretty much what I do to get myself ready to draft a book. So, as you probably saw in the title or the thumbnail, this first video we're going to talk about ideation and brainstorming. So, let's chat. So this is where I'm probably gonna be leaning more to this side so I can kind of like show a little bit. Um, when I am in this process of ideation and brainstorming, I either, I mean, I always go through, if I don't know what am I going to work on, whether it's camp or another thing, I go through the list that I have on my Notion of ideas. It's kind of look blurry, friends, because I'm not gonna show you all the ideas. There are all of them there. A lot of the times, I know if the idea I want to lean it more for traditional publishing, if it's more indie, then which pen name this idea fits better. That is in there too. But if I don't know, I'll just put the idea down and call it a day. I'll figure that out once I get to that idea. Um, Also, sometimes, like a lot of these ideas were on my phone on the note app. So I used to have a really long note with bunch of ideas, and I also have multiple notes with bunch of ideas. And probably as you can see, I also have email draft of ideas of um, a half written scene that just came, and I didn't have any piece of paper or anything like that. So I just opened my email and draft and wrote it and chuck it in the draft session, and we'll look at it whenever. So that's what I mostly do when ideas comes. They come. It could be that I want to kind of like mash up a couple of different tropes. Maybe I want a certain kind of story in a certain setting. Maybe is a world that kind of like came into my mind, or maybe is a world that I saw uh, watching a movie or a series or reading a book, and then thinking, what if it was on another place? Like, climate will be different, and culture will be different. How different this world will be if those things were different. Also, relationship dynamics, friends, family, romantic relationship dynamics gives me a lot of ideas. Sometimes it's I see a dynamic in a show and I'm like, what if it was a different gender? Or what if both of them were from different cultures? Or like I keep doing a lot of what if, and I'll just keep jotting those down. Now I do that on my Notion. It's pretty much where I dump all of the ideas and figure it out later. Now, sometimes genre is what I want to work on. Maybe I want to work on a fantasy or a paranormal or um, contemporary, technically magical realism, because it's contemporary, but it has something that is not quite mm, normal, but it's not full on magic. Um, that can determine kind of like the type of ideas that I jot down. And once I get into the brainstorming, so for me to brainstorm something, I had to pick up the idea. So I'll go through the list if I haven't picked up something already. And once I pick up something, based on the idea or based on the genre that I want to write in it at that moment, then I start brainstorming. And this is when I pick up a notebook. Now, right now, I I have a lot of notebooks, and I usually do like the classic school one subject notebook that comes in color and cuts like, I don't know, 50 cents, 75 cents, a dollar, depending where you're at. Um, but I, for this, I kind of don't want to use those. But also, I'm not entirely sure um, which of the two ideas that I'm thinking I'm going to stick with. So I have two different notebooks that I may use. I have this big hardcover orange owl notebook. It's pretty darn big. Um, I took some of the pages because I used this way back when I was taking a class of uh, event planning in a class of web design using a specific software called Dreamweaver. Um, so I took all those pages out and file it away. And then the other notebook, which is completely different, it's quite smaller than that. It's just around the size of my face. There's no little characters. There's a brown spiral um, notebook. It is lined and it has a space for a date and a page. And it's more on the floppy side. Um, the this one it's line pages too, but it doesn't have any like specific area that you put your date in the page or anything like that. It's just line paper. Um, so I decide on a notebook and then I start brainstorming. Now, what how that looks for me. So let me kind of like show you some examples of probably what I'm showing you is going to be fan fiction. So let's get to those. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me with this here. So I just pulled one of um, notebooks that I have for some of my fan fiction. Let me take it out. It feels like it's gonna hit my neck plenty of times. So I do have, this is why it has a tab, because I do have two stories here because they're kind of related, but not entirely. So this is how it usually starts for when I start brainstorming. I have kind of like I set up the characters dynamic, like who's gonna be with who are like which characters are friend, um, if they're family members, things like that. And then I usually, if I don't have a title, I put the work in progress title, or just a project title, or the name of the main character as the project title. I just put a identifier. Then I usually put the tropes that I will be working on, and then I try to summarize the story that I'm trying to tell. It never ends up being the real summary of the story. I just want to have an initial impression. And once I do that, then it comes the pages of brainstorming. And what that means is any idea that I have for this story gets written down. Whether it's just a small conversation, a full blown scene, just something that I want to happen. Maybe I want them to um, go to the park together, or maybe I want their first brush of hands happen during a movie theater, or I already have an entire conversation between two characters about something. I don't know if it's going to be important for the character, for the plot. It's just anything goes. Once I'm in the brainstorming phase, anything anything and everything goes. And my brainstorming doesn't keep itself on scenes. This is when, if the idea wasn't specific enough to know the setting, this is where I think, okay, is it going to be a city, is it going to be like something like New York City, or is it gonna be something like a smaller city like Richmond or Virginia Beach? Or is this gonna be on the East Coast? Is it gonna be on the West Coast? Is it gonna be on the South? Is it gonna be in the US? Is it gonna be in Puerto Rico? Is it gonna be on an entire different country? Um, when is it going to be throughout the year? Is it going to be only during winter season, fall season, spring season, summer season? Like, everything and anything goes in this phase. I do have an additional brainstorming session. I get a little bit more specific, but that happens before I start outlining, and it happens after I do all of this brainstorming, because I'm literally everything. Sometimes it's just like a bunch of paragraph or short sentences on a page. Sometimes I do a brain map, and it kind of like, um, whether I write the character's name and then I start connecting things, or whether I do the setting and start connecting things, or I do like the main conflict and start connecting things. I use any and every tool that will keep my creativity open and flowing, because at this point I just want, like I said, I keep saying it, and I hope you guys are not doing a challenge or anything like that. This is the phase that everything and anything goes in, because I this is the moment that I'm expanding as much as I want and as much as I can, to then eventually narrow it down to find the actual story I want to tell. But a lot of the times, I won't know that until I do all of this. So, probably, I don't know if other outliners and plotters do this, but this will be what a lot of discovery writers do by writing the story. I personally can, if I don't know what I am supposed to be writing, nothing gets written. So I'm just this creative brainstorm, everything goes in the page because the page can hold it phase is part of my discovery uh, of the possible story. Sometimes some of this brainstorming that I do ends up on other stories. Again, I'm just like expanding as much as I can. I'll eventually narrow it down to find the specific story I want to tell with specific characters I want to tell it with. Um, so that's pretty much the first thing that I do. This is something that I do on and off. And this is why usually when NaNoWriMo, the CAMS, or the November event comes around, I kind of like know what project I'm gonna work, because my ideation and brainstorming phase, it's a long, it's not a couple of days or a week. If I have to do it, I'll do it, but it's something that I do throughout months. It's a phase that it doesn't have a start and a ending. It just evolves. Like, there's some months that I am working on a couple of different ideas, and then once I expanded as much as I wanted to or felt like I'll move. So I'm constantly going in and out of ideas to do this. um, Especially the ideation in some of the brainstorming. um, I I bring a notebook either during this phase of brainstorming, if I have a lot that I want to jot down. um Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just like a couple of things, so I will just add it to where the idea is, so I don't forget it. But if in this first ideation brainstorming session I have not bring a notebook, the brainstorming that I do before the outlining, that for sure the project has to have a notebook. But usually when I start doing this expansive brainstorming, I already assign a notebook. It's just gonna take a lot longer to fill. And I rarely fill them all. It's just something that I don't quite manage to do. Um, yeah. So let's do something. Regardless of you guys knowing or not which project I am debating, let me know which notebook you will choose if you were choosing between the notebooks that I showed you. We got the small floppy spiral notebook, brown notebook. This I can add stickers to it, so it can be spruce up, or we can do the big hardcover all orange notebook. Both of them are lined, so the interior doesn't make any difference. Let me know down in the comments which one will you choose regardless of the project that I decide. Um, we shall see what happens. The next video does my favorite part, because next video we're gonna talk about the playlist and the Pinterest board. So we might get some sneak peeks of some of my playlists and some of my Pinterest boards. So um, be on the lookout for that video. You'll see me in this same blue NaNoWriMo shirt for all of the videos. This is going to be the uniform for the Preptober videos, just so you know. Um, yeah, that's it. If you found this helpful at all, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoy getting to know a little bit more about my process of coming up with ideas and getting all the way through the outline to get ready to draft, hit the like and subscribe to see the other videos that are coming Tuesdays. And yeah, I'll see you guys around and on the next video. Bye.